Okay. So we should be broadcasting.
So the oil doesn't leak out in there.
Anybody want to check?
Yeah, we'll check.
Yeah,
on the YouTube channel.
I'm checking here. It's
Okay.
waiting for Andre.
Yeah, there's going to be a slight delay. If you're on, make sure yours is muted, because once it does come in, it's gonna loop. Yeah. All right. So thanks everybody for coming out. We have a lot more people actually dialing in this time than we normally do. So that's probably the reason why we have a lot less, and the interns are gone too as well. Or at least most of them.
They're final today. So it's their final presentation today.
Yeah. So they're pretty occupied, but they can watch the video later. Hopefully, if it works.
Plus, there's free food in 34.
Yeah, that's always a draw. That's one of the reasons why we have people.
Definitely need to do that in our DWG.
Exactly. All right, so Matthew is going to be our speaker today. He's volunteered graciously, and we do appreciate that, to give us a presentation on Vue.JS. So that's the one we're looking at. Oh, well, we have. Go ahead, Matthew.
Were you about to?
Okay, just wanted to. I'll give him a quick introduction, then we'll switch back over to you in a minute.
Okay.
So we have this dev group every 2 weeks on Friday. We try to be consistent. I think the last couple, like over the summer, in the beginning of the summer, we had some flakiness with some of our speakers. Hopefully we'll resolve that. So we'll have consistent talks for the next, all the way out into the end of October, we're scheduled out. Today, Matthew's going to be speaking about Vue.js. Next time on the 17th, we're going to have Steve Albers. He's going to be talking about picking your JavaScript framework. Then Sam is going to be talking about parsing C and Python APIs to generate assisted some things, whatever he's talking about. Then we'll have
Who's going to be
Samuel Price. Yeah, I think he's presented before in the past as well. Then I think it's Heggie. He's going to be talking.
Heggie.
Okay, Heggie. He's going to be presenting on Swagger API on September 14th. And then we're going to have Shane is going to be presenting on practical accessibility for web and software developers. And then we're going to have Christine and myself. We're going to be presenting on diversity in IT. That one's going to be pretty interesting. It's not going to be the usual diversity talk. So it'll be guaranteed it'll be different from what you usually hear with diversity as far as IT is concerned as well. And then sometime after that, I thought I had it in here, but maybe I just need to refresh my screen. There we go. The lightning talks, which was scheduled earlier in the summer, but my mom wasn't available to make us food, so we pushed it back. And so that'll be on October 26th. And if you are available to give a lightning talk, please let me know. I think we're going to set the time frame around 5 to 7 minutes, something like that, per talk. We have a few that are already scheduled in the queue, but we can always use more. We'll also have food, like real food, and not just pizza. So that'll be definitely a treat, and we'll try to schedule the talks and stagger them out. So you'll have a talk, some time to kind of discuss a little bit, and then another talk, and then some time, that sort of thing.
Is this supposed to be on YouTube?
Huh?
Is this part supposed to be on YouTube?
Yeah, it's not there.
It's not. It's,
oh, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I always forget.
Right.
But yeah, thank you for that. Actually, let me do that for a second, and hopefully I'll remember to come back in. All right, so. Just 1 second.
I got it at the inception before it.
Yeah. All right. So for the YouTube channel, thank you, Isam, for pointing that out. This is our backlog. Again, we've had 39 that, at least since we've been tracking it, that have been completed. We have the 8 that are scheduled that I mentioned just now. We have 11 that are assigned to people. We're just waiting to get dates kind of situated for that. We have a few that are in the planning process, but we have 47 that are in the backlog. If you have ideas for topics as well, so yesterday I sat in on an interview for a Java developer, and he's going to be brand new to the web. So I told him, hey, if you want to suggest a introduction to web, the core concept of web development, let me know. We have a lot of systems developers here, but we don't have a lot of systems developer talks. So if you have one that is like, you want to talk about Rust or C++ or whatever, then let us know, and then we can try to find someone to give the presentation if you yourself are not willing to give it. But just put it in the backlog. And I've spoken for okay, so I have not done the hen thing in a while. Little Red Hen, everyone's familiar with the story, say, hey, who wants to plant? No, you're shaking your head, you're not, oh my gosh. All right, so I'll give you the abridged version of the story. So it's a nursery rhyme pretty much, and it goes something to the effect of, hey, I want to make some bread, who wants to help me? And no one says they want to help. They're like, how does it go? Like, who's going to help me plant the seeds? And I was like, nope, I'm too busy, everyone. Like, not I. Yeah, that's where it goes. And so he's like, so the little hen plants the seeds all by herself, and then the seeds grow. It's like, who's going to help me harvest the whatever you do with seeds that grow? And I was like, nope, too busy, can't do it. But, so who's going to help me bring it to the storehouse, and who's going to help me do all the things? Who's going to help me bake it? All the way up to the point where it's like, who's going to help me eat it? And by that time, everyone's like, oh, I got time now. So yeah, I'll be there. What we're getting at the end here is the bread being eaten. But there's so much work that happens before you get to this point. Arranging for the room, arranging for the pizza, arranging for the speakers. And then a lot of other things that happen before that. And we can definitely use some help with those things, any one of those things. A few people have picked up one or two, and that's great. Even if you can just do one thing, that helps tremendous. Like Hyson picked up the pizza today. That just means I had an extra 30 minutes to figure out this audio video thing and get other stuff situated. So any little thing that you can do to help out goes a long way, and trust me, is very much appreciated. So just like to extend that plea out one more time.
Giovanni helped us.
It was a joint effort.
Yes, it was a team effort. So you can divide it up within your team too as well. So however you want to divvy it up, as long as I don't have to do it. As long as I don't have to do it, I tremendously appreciate it. All right. So with that, we're going to go back over to Matthew.
Awesome.
And Matthew, you are on screen. You can take it away whenever you're ready.
All right. Hello, Goddard Flight and Space Center. I am Matthew Dickens. I am from Houston. I work and I am very honored to have you guys invite me for this presentation. It's I never expect Andre to even invite me here, so thank you very much for this opportunity. So let's just go ahead and get started. Right. First things first, let's just get that. All right. So intro to Vue.js, what is it and how can we use it? So who am I? I just said my name, Matthew Dickens. There's my GitHub, by the way, if you want to peruse that. I work under JSC, under IRD as a full stack developer. I work with things like .NET, Java, Python, SQL, JavaScript, and a little bit more technologies, but not so much. My hobbies are traveling, video games, making memes, watching anime, D&D, and reading books. And that's some other stuff if you want to know. So what is, first question, what is Vue.js? It's a front-end. Vue.js is only a front-end framework that only deals with DOM manipulation. So if you heard of things like Angular, React, they do the similar thing of just only front-end DOM manipulation. It only cares what you displaying whatever you want, like HTML. So here's some example code of what kind of Vue may look like for you, but this is kind of more in the code separation of code format, but
that much sharper.
But it touts itself as the progressive front-end framework, and for a good reason, because it adapts to the developer. You can use it within npm, or you could just simply implement it within a CDN, or just download Vue.js and use it however you want. And also they have lots of libraries you can plug into. It does not require buy-in from the team because of that CDN, and able to download it and import it into any project with HTML in it. You can basically just use it at your will. It's way more approachable than for other frameworks than React or Angular, because it has as long as you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, Vue.js should be very simple for you. And it's also very performant with a 20 kilobyte min gzip. So that is freaking awesome. But fair warning, Vue.js is not another jQuery. That's my favorite part about it. So if we take a look at just take a look at how Vue.js has grown. You're getting about, at this point in time, 413,000 downloads, and if we continue on, and it has 109,000 GitHub starts, more than React, but yet it's the youngest of the three big front-end frameworks, and that is quite impressive. So I think it has to contribute to the fact that basically it's approachable by many, and so therefore it's gotten adopted a lot. And it has quite the ecosystem. So if you're familiar with React Router and Redux, you have your Vue Router and Vuex. You have Vue CLI for project scaffolding, Vue loaders, server-side rendering, and all these other tools you can use with Vue and stuff. So similar frameworks are Angular and React. And one thing that Vue does, it borrows from the ideas of Angular, and then it also borrows from the ideas of React. So like if you know either one of these, you'll get a kind of taste of Angular within Vue, and then you get a taste of React within Vue. And it takes those best parts about both of these frameworks and puts them into one framework. So enough talk. Let's code our hello world. So here I have Vue loaded, preloaded within the JS fiddle. So, and I have element app. So the first.
Can you make the text a little bit bigger?
Yes, sir. How's that?
Yeah, if you can go full screen, that would be great.
Okay. That's
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. I was trying to. Okay. So as we can see here, and then it's autocompletes Bing. All right. Then we have create a Vue app. You have just simply a div or any element with the ID of app, and then you have a selector of element, and then you do either an ID or a class, but we're going to choose ID for now. Next we have the data property within the Vue, which we pass into the new Vue instance. This data property can hold data which Vue can react to within the virtual DOM. And so we can just simply type message, and then we can just do our hello world in Vue. Now that we have that, we have a little bit like we just do this. Like have you ever heard of Mustache? Mustache.js. This may be familiar with you. So if we just type message in here and we just run it, we simply get hello world. So what Vue did was basically looked for the element here and look for app, and then looked at data, see the message, and then detected these curly braces, and then filled the message in with hello world instead. Pretty cool. It's not that much, but we can also do things like, let's see, we can also implement HTML. So v-HTML, and, or no, let's do div. Let's div. Put a div here, and we can implement HTML. So like, let's just say message. You can, this is another option, but really I don't use this much. And then we say, I don't know, H1, just for the sake, H1. And we can just say hello world. No. Let's see. Oops. Okay. v-HTML. Oh, yes. Message. I think that's it. Yes. So basically, we have, this is called a directorate in Vue. This is kind of similar to how Angular does things a little bit. You'll see with the binding and the V model and stuff. But yeah, so that's one thing. Now that's cool and all. You can just display text with the message and it replaces things. But how do we get some programmability in there? Let's get some conditional rendering, like with if, else, if, and all that stuff. So here, let's just go in here, and let's say, let's make a div, and then we're just going to do v-if equals I shown, and we're just going to display a message here, and what we're going to do to make this work, if we just do this, we don't have shown, so therefore a shown data property, so therefore it won't show. But if we add shown and put that to true, it will simply just show it. So say I am here. Now, but what if? But you also have div v else, and then you could say I am hidden. So if we run this and then we hit false, and then it says I am hidden. Now there's also one more directorate. There is the else-if, v-else-if. So you can have the else-if equals other show. Let's go in here and then say other show and set that to true, just for the sake. And we can say other show is shown. Great. Other shown is shown. And if we go ahead and make this false too, we have I am hidden. So you can see how you can have conditional rendering within Vue.js. You can have an if, else, and true or falsely statements along with it. But there is one more kind of conditional rendering, and this is called v-show. Now we're going to explain v-show in a bit, but let's do shown, and then it says I am here. But with vShow, you can't have a vIf. So if we go ahead and run this, it doesn't have it doesn't show. But if I do true, it does I am here. But you're probably wondering, what the heck is the difference if I have a vShow and a vIf? Why can't I just use a vIf? Well, there is quite a huge difference. And that is with, oh, sorry, I had that split screen. Did you guys see that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I was just making sure. Yeah, I totally blanked out. But the difference with vIf and vShow, vIf is real conditional rendering because it ensures that the event listeners and the child components inside the conditional block are properly destroyed and recreate on the toggles. Meaning that when I have vIf equal to false, it literally removes the element from the HTML and then puts it back in. vIf is also lazy. The if condition is false on the initial render. It will not do anything. So it will skip that in the rendering virtual DOM. It'll just basically skip the render, and then and the conditional render won't be for the rest of the time. In comparison, vShow is much simpler, where the element is always rendered regardless of the initial condition, but is toggled with the CSS-based toggling display none. And we'll go ahead and kind of show you that. Just one sec, and then say div vIf equals shown. I am in vIf. Okay. So if we go ahead and run, we can see. Oops. I didn't mean to put in responsive design. I was doing some personal stuff. Hold on. Wait, how do I get it out of? Oh yes. Okay. So if we could see here, I don't know if you guys can see that as well. Hold on. So as soon as I toggle show equals false, and then go within, I think, this HTML here. Hold on, just one sec. You could see the first div is display style is set to display none, but then the vIf is not there. It's not rendered in Vue.js. It's just not there. So it's something to consider if you want to use vShow or vIf. Say you want the element always there and toggleable easily. Like if you have a performance hit, if you have to re-render it every time, then vShow is better. But if you use, you can use vIf for much simpler stuff. But sometimes initial load, like I said, initial load on vIf is better if it's turned off initially. So just keep that in mind when you're using conditional rendering. So I have a complete example on JSFiddle. I will share the presentation to Andre and he can share it to you. Now that we have seen conditional rendering, what about loops? What about recursion? You know, oh, good old recursion. Okay, that's some examples. Okay. So let's go back into good old. So let's define our shopping list, and we're going to define it as an array, and then we'll say apples, pears, oranges, and apples, pears, and oranges. Okay. And then we have div we have a, let's say UL, and then we can do li for shopping list. All right. Shopping list, and then we say item in shopping list. And then with our curly braces, we say item. Okay. So if we run it, it loops through the shopping list array here and gives us apples, pears, and oranges. And so, let's see, v4. So that's one way of doing it. There's more examples over there. But then we have the v4 directory for objects as well. So you can just iterate over an object. So let's say you go name, and let's see apples, and then name orange.
Yeah, curly brace at the line 4.
Oh yeah. My bad. Let's see. Item 1 and item 2. Yes, thank you.
No problem.
And then so then it becomes an object, and then we say item.name, and we get apples and oranges. It iterates through objects just as such. Oops. Did I? Oh yeah. The vbind key. We'll go over vbind in a little bit, but to explain the v4, we have to kind of go in. Vue.js concepts kind of mix together, so bear with me for one moment. So when Vue.js is updating a list of elements, it likes to render things, and it tries to optimize when you go v4. When you use v4, but sometimes by using an ID, but sometimes that default ID is just not enough. So you have to sometimes provide a key to give it some more to give it better optimization and performance gains. So this is ever since Vue 2.2. It is required, even though it still renders here, but it will, in the console, it will scream at you relentlessly if you're not using key. So in this, we just say key, and then we say vbind key, and voila.
Matthew, can you go full screen? Because I think the people that are watching online with the smaller screen.
Oh, yes. My bad. I keep forgetting. My apologies.
Just a little bit more.
Better?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. If you go vbind key, it will add a key to the element, so we can kind of see here. No. It doesn't show here, but you'll see kind of some weird stuff if you go into something more like a Webpack Vue-based project or something like that. All right. So next, v4 with range. So not only you can just iterate over an array or something, you can just say a number of times you want it to iterate, and it will iterate. So let's say we want to n in 10, and let's make the key n, and we will print out n. it will show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you want 10 elements of the same kind, you can do that. That is possible. All right. All right. Next up. So that's a thing you can see. All right. The vbind directive. All right. So now we're going to get into data binding and into more data binding. And since I am taking up a lot of time, I'm going to just go ahead and jump into the examples I prepared. So see right here, I have, as you can see right here, I have the vbind directive. And the vbind can, with this colon, can attach to any HTML attribute. So whether it's the ID, the class, what have you. And so if you just type vbind href, and then within the data, we have a URL. So, and then it says go to Google. If I shift click, we have a link to Google. It will kind of just go blank if I just clicked it. But as you can see, vbind will bind your data attributes to the attributes themselves. So I can do a lot of things with that. See, with that. So next we can. I'm sorry.
Is that a one-way binding or is that two-way binding?
One-way binding. Yes. So that we are going to get into vmodel, which will do two-way binding. And hold on 1 second. Take a drink. All right. All right. So now let's have some fun with events and actually handling user input. So I am gonna. Oh, I love this example. So here in this example, I have the div ID app, then the directive of vOn, and then the event to click. Then now you may notice that we have now a methods property. And this is where you can define methods for your user input, or even this is kind of cool. If I just print out reverse, wait, I'm sorry. I am reverse message. I think that's, oh, okay. So it's going to print out what it is. You can kind of see, wait a minute. Message.split. I think you can just print it, right? Okay. I totally. Okay. Now it just actually, let's just say get message. Oh, that's what I was doing wrong. I'm sorry. So if I just did return message, this dot message, and also another thing to note, this refers to the Vue instance, but you can get your data properties through this. So good thing to note is this dot message equals to this right here, and then you can access your methods with this. So you can just say this dot reverse message. It will all be available through this. So just a good thing to know. So let's say get message. Okay. And it's going to display what it is. I'm sorry. And then it's going to say, hello, my name is Matthew. And then we can reverse the message and it handles it as such. So reverse message. With the vOn and the click, we call reverse message just like a regular function. just kind of like a regular functions, you could put any JavaScript within these double quotations. You can put 2 + 2 or what have you, and it will work. And yeah, and it'll just do that. Great. Okay. We can also use the event object in our methods, so we can get data from the event object. So if we go back in here, let's just implement a quick, let's see, input, and then v on input equals update message, and then if we just run that just to test, okay, and then say we'll just say update message, and then we pass the event. We can pass the event object, and then see we get var value equals event.target.value, and then we can also just say this dot message equals value. Okay, let's run that and say hello. I think that, no.
So it might be the event input. Probably not an event. You probably want like key down or something like that, or what's that thing called? When you lose focus, I can't remember what it's called.
Mouse out or
Yeah, not mouse out.
Target is undefined.
Yeah, input's not. I don't think input's not an event.
Okay. I thought. Oh yeah. I
Lose
think
focus, but it's not. It's called
It's blur, isn't it?
blur. Yeah, on blur.
on blur.
Yeah. And then when you mouse out from it, it should fire the event.
No. Okay. I thought it was that. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I'm just trying this JS fiddle thing with the normally this let's see. Okay. We'll have to
Don't worry about it. We get
no.
what you mean.
Yeah, you can pass you can pass event so within it, but then or actually I think I know what's wrong. One sec.
Yeah.
No, okay, never mind. Yeah, yeah, there is a way to get event through there. My bad. Yeah, I don't normally do that often, so so we can have methods inline with parameters passed. So you can have say hi, say what, and then you can have it just do an alert as such. So you can also have modifiers. So if everybody's heard of stop propagation, prevent default. Stop propagation is basically if you have a form within a form and then a submit button, don't ever do that, but it will propagate up if you have this form within a form and then submits up. And then prevent default, preventing it from a form from submitting, and then self once and capture. So I included a link there for you if you have that. So, and also modifiers can be changed, and there are some modifiers in VueJS directives. Just a note. Now we're going to get into something fun, and that's two-way data binding with vModel. So if we go back here, and so we're going to see some let's see, vModel equals message. And message. And then let's go ahead and delete shopping list and include message. And we'll just make it an empty string. But then here, we'll just have it display message here. And then all we have to do is say, hello. Yep. And it will update as I'm typing, and Vue.js will update it as proper. So this can be attached to basically any kind of input. So you can have, let's see, a select the model selected, and you have an option. Let's make the value equal to Apple, commit Apple, and then go. Okay, it's shortcuts are my keyboard's not working with me. Value equal orange, and then orange there, and then we can have just simply selected equals blank string, and we have selected, and it chooses Apple, orange, and what have you, and it still works. So you could do a lot with just simply vModel. That's one of the cool things about these front-end frameworks is just the two-way data binding that it provides. So another example I have it. Is just basically just this. Yeah. Okay. I have tons of examples. I kind of forgot all of them all. Shorthands. I hate typing. No one likes to type, even though we're programmers. So we want shortcuts and shorthands so we can be faster. So for vbind, you just have to provide a colon, a little colon, ID, key, class. For von, you can just provide an @ and that will be the von for the input. So I guess I can show you on this. So instead of von click, click, and it will continue to reverse this message. And then let's say we want to have the input bind the value of this input equal to message. I think this might work. and then if we click this button, it will update the message within the input. So those are some things you can do with the shorthand. So that way you don't have to type vbind :value or von. You could just do @click and @value. And from now on in this presentation, I will be using the @ click and value. So you have been warned. Now we're going to get into something interesting with computed and watch properties. So let's get into what a computer property is. So let's look at this example. This is valid Vue.js here. So div ID example, message split reverse join. And this could be a problem, laid down lots of problems later down the line. Because if you have to basically, let's say you do a v4 over this like 80,000 times, right? It's gonna get quite slow. Like your page is gonna be pretty unresponsive at this point. And trust me, I have implemented where it iterates over thousands and thousands of records. And Vue.js, it's not the prettiest thing. It can be costly. Like you have to be concerned of costs and stuff. So to save the day, we have what's known as computed properties. And I have this example prepared because I see I am running out of time. So, oh, this is the one I like. So here I have what the V model set to superhero name, and then superhero name. And then based off that, I have a computed property that that's called superhero theme song. And so it will be like superhero theme song within this p tag here. And then you'll find this funny. Has anyone heard of Wat Talks?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if not, you're gonna and then also I have another one called isWhatMatShown with the function super name doesn't equal that. So I have it where I'm combining V model, computed property, and VF all together, and then you get this glorious not Batman. What's the difference between so there is a difference between method and computed, and returning data through method. So I will show that in just a sec. Superhero get superhero theme song, and then I'll just declare this a function. And I'm going to quickly copy and paste this code. Bear with me. Just bear with me with 1 second. And now I am going to simply console.log. I have updated. And console.log. I have updated in computed. Okay. Now, if I go in the console, okay, it's just got to play. Watman. You'll notice that updating computed. There
in the other code.
Okay, that's weird. I was like, why did it do that? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I was expecting it to see it once. Or no. This is a V model input. No. Is actually is isWhatMatShown. I should have done that. So let's see. That's what I meant to do. Okay. Let me run. Updating computed shown. Hello. Looks like it updates every time. Okay. I may have a bad example for this, but normally what computed properties do is they are basically cached. So therefore, they are only updated if their value has changed. So I guess this has changed
It's
all the time.
It's
yeah.
every letter.
Right. So
Letter is a different value.
Right. So that's a bad example. I apologize for that. But yeah, so if maybe like something like actually show is what. Okay, yeah, this is function. If we just did computer property with another computer property, so this that is what meant shown. I think. No. Oh yeah, computer properties you do not have to define with the braces. Just one sec. Yeah, you see I am updating computed, but is what meant shown has not appeared in the has not appeared. So the reason why is what meant shown hasn't updated it is computed shown is because it's being cached, because the is what meant shown is a dependency. Well, show is what meant shown is dependent on is what meant shown. So if it's the dependency has not updated, it will remain. It will use the cache value instead. So that's how that works.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is that if the values needed to compute the computed value haven't changed, and the computed that function doesn't fire again.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the other case it would fire it regardless. It was stupid. Like every time there's an update, it's going to fire all the functions again.
Right. And if you were to fire it in method, it would. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I didn't do that. Git. Let me copy paste this 1 second, and then we'll actually see it. Git superhero theme song is not a function. Yes, it is a function. Quit playing with me, JavaScript. All right.
It's okay. We get the concept.
Yeah. It will, but that method will fire. Method. If I was returning that method, it would fire every time. That console log. So the magic of computer properties are cached based on their dependencies. Computer property will reevaluate when some of the dependencies have changed. If superhero name has not changed, it will return the previously computed result instead of having to run the function again. So the watch property. So we're going to have to go through the example here. Watch is not typically used, but it is used sometimes in cases of third-party API calls. So in this example, this is the yes/no API. And then I have a V model on the question here. And then it's going to update the watch property is basically going to update the answer. And this dot get answer will basically run. So let's say, can you make a sandwich? Thinking yes. So what watch property does is basically every time you have your value change, it will value question change. So you have to provide the same key. It will fire this function right here, and then it will pass values old question, the old value, and the new value, and then you could do whatever you want with it. So let's say, and then like get answer, which is asynchronous because you have a Axios call, basically asynchronously getting the stuff. The reason why you sometimes need watch is because it's just simply because
it's probably because you're doing something outside of the context of Vue.js. So change detection doesn't fire, so you're basically telling it to fire.
Yes. So sometimes that is the case where what you need watch is because computed itself is a synchronous call. Computed properties are a synchronous call with their functions, and watch properties have an asynchronous call with their functions. So if you need to do something asynchronously, you can use watch. If you need to do something pretty synchronously and keep it cached, you just use computed. Any questions so far?
Is there, this is very similar to how I think AngularJS was kind of constructed, and there's some serious like performance implications of using watch, especially like you're watching on a big object or deep watching. Is that similar in Vue as well?
Yeah, it is. And that's why I kind of rarely use watch at all. What I do is basically everything with heavy asynchronous. I basically just do it at first on initial load, and then I just take care of everything with like computed properties. Basically, it's much faster that way sometimes. Yeah. Anything else?
Nope. I think we're good on this end.
Okay. So, yeah, to answer your question, when to use methods, computed properties, and watchers, use methods only when you want to alter component state. So when you want to alter anything in the data property, or when an event has occurred that isn't necessarily related to the data being mutated. So it says being mutated. So that's some good practice there. And then use computed property when you want to mutate a property that is dependent upon another property being changed. So like if you want to have constant mutations upon a property, and this computed property has to detect, let's say a string is and checking if the string is not empty, like in our Watman example. If you're constantly updating that, you might want to check that use computed. And generally, you do use computed a lot. Use watch when you need to perform some logic as a result of a change that looks place specific to the data property. So it's basically anytime you want to really granularly handle a change in Vue. Now, let's get on a little CSS stuff here with Vue. And so styling with Vue, we can do quite a lot. There's there's two different types of ways to handle that. Just one sec. Just delete this, and we're just gonna do something simple. We're just gonna say we're gonna define a class of red, and then we're gonna set the color of that just simply to red. Let's see there, and then we're gonna define a box, and then we're gonna assign width. Width is equal to 50 pixels, and let's say height is equal to 50 px. Now I want to, let's say, div bbind class is equal to object array. So we pass in here we pass in an object, and then we say red, and then we pass a true statement, and then a box with a true statement. And oops, oh yeah, I didn't close it. Let me do this.
Doesn't have any content.
Doesn't have any content. Yeah, it should have. Display. I think I have an example here. Hold on, just one sec. All your fiddles. Watch property, computed property, hello world, reverse. Let's see.
While you're looking for that, I know I think Angular, the new Angular version, I think React does this as well, but they do isolation of styling. So like you style there, but it'll kind of rewrite your style so they don't leak out of your component. There's something similar to that for components and styling.
Yeah, so you can't, but yeah, you basically separate it out. Basically with let's see, yeah, vbind class is active. Okay. Yeah, sorry about this.
That's okay. So yeah. Matthew, we're also kind of running low on time. Are you going to talk a little bit about the component architecture as well?
Yeah. Let's get into components. Yeah. So styling, you can definitely look. Oh yeah, I do have it. I do have an example. So here, true, you can set it to true, false, and then you can also have array syntax. Since we're kind of running out of time, I want to get into components. Basically the bread and butter of Vue and all these other frameworks, like React and Angular. So here, since for the sake of time, I have a components example ready to go. Just one second. Or I thought I saved it. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. JS Fiddles likes to be special, but we're just going to, for the sake of time, Vue dot. So component, and then button component, and then what we do is we pass in an object, and then we say template, and we say think something like p, put in message and /p. But with components, data has to be a function, which you have to pass return an object. To return an object and message hello world, right? And then we have to create our Vue instance, new Vue element #app, and then what we can do is we can just say button component, or no, yeah. So, or p component, I guess that's better than p tag component, and you have a component. And something that you can do with these components is v4 n in 10, and you can have them repeat with the same kind of thing. So that's what gives you the something there. And then so let's see. For the sake of time, I'm going to skip over this kind of because it's kind of long, a little long. So I just want to leave room for questions. But essentially, basically, this is how it renders. It gets data, sets data, has a watcher component. It triggers the re-render, and then it goes to the virtual DOM. And that's how Vue kind of works on that. So, but why use a virtual DOM? Because accessing JS is faster than accessing the real DOM. So having Vue JavaScript virtual DOM is much faster than having a just accessing the DOM, like kind of like what jQuery does. So the VueJS lifecycle, every component has a VueJS instance, including components. Components are instances, has a lifecycle. So they have things like in React, before create, created, element, yes or no, compile template, before mount, mounted, before update, updated, and even to destroy, destroy functions as well. I could show that. I don't have time to show that right now. So I just want to leave room for questions later on. So, all right. So now, how do you get like a real deployable app into VueJS? So kind of like, how do you get this into a real application, like say ASP.NET or what have you? What you could do is you could basically, with npm, we have the let's see, we have the Vue CLI tool. If I'll show you here, and basically you use npm and node. Look up npm and node if you want to, if you have, or if you're not familiar with that. But basically npm is just a package manager, and there you can install the CLI tool, which basically scaffolds your project and ready for development. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. Can everybody see?
It's a little small.
Okay. Yeah. I have a 4K screen, so bear with me. Let's see. Zoom in. What's the keyboard shortcut? Oh, Control minus. Why is that? That's so weird. Or no.
Control plus.
Oh no, Control Shift equals.
Oh,
that's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
All right, so we can just do Vue create project, or my project. Right. CLI requires node. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't test that beforehand. Whoops. I was doing that before, but it apparently needs that. Oh well. But yeah, what you can do is you can install npm, type, and it will scaffold a project out for you in Vue.js. So, oh goodness, so
doing good.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. I hope I didn't suck that bad, but if anybody has any questions about VueJS, there's my email, there's my Twitter. There's some helpful links too. So you have the GitHub, VueJS.org. You have the VueJS forum. And the dev tools, they're just like React. If you're familiar with it, they have their own dev tools that you can use and stuff. But any final questions?
Questions? So you've done React and you've done Vue. Can you compare those a little bit?
Yes. React was developed. React in itself is kind of it's much different in the sense. Well, it has similar ideas in Vue, but the difference is it's heavy emphasis on JSX syntax. So if you go, so let's look at some React. Yes, let's see. Well, as you can see, you have a class which extends, but then you have HTML within your JavaScript. And instead of Vue.js, it likes to separate those out into separate things. So if you look in the beginning of my presentation, you can see that the template and the script are separate, but then you can also have CSS styles that are scoped only to the component. So you have a style tag under here, and then you can style the component as you wish. And that's what I like about Vue, is because it has a lot of separation of concerns when it comes to code versus React. And I've developed in React, and you can get quite messy with it. Let's say in a school project, I've had someone develop a React component with like 1,000 lines of just React code, and it was quite messy. And so that's something to consider. But if you do best practices in React, you won't run into that problem usually. And also, I think managing lifecycle events are much easier in Vue.js.
Cool, thank you. Any other questions? I know Matthew and I met in the Slack channel for topic code, so we'll invite you to the GSFC dev group if you're not in that channel as well. I thought about it afterwards, but if you guys have questions to him, whatever, you can probably reach him there as well. If you're in the Slack channel, there's a few things that we didn't go over, like Vuex and a few other things that make it the development environment kind of nice for Vue. But if you're familiar with AngularJS, like a lot of the syntax looks similar. What they called, I think one of the reasons why Vue's gained so much popularity is because that change between AngularJS and Angular 2. Everyone thought Angular 2 would be what Vue is, which is the virtual DOM on top of with the component system, with the syntax the way it was, and the ease of use. You know, dropping it in like a script tag and being able to get up and running right away. And so a lot of people have jumped ship from Angular, which is no longer AngularJS, which is no longer being updated, over to Vue. A lot of people from React have jumped back over to Vue because it's just a simpler model, but still gives you a lot of the same benefits. It's I think, in my personal opinion, that's one of the reasons why it's moving so fast ahead. And the other part to it too is, I think Matthew brought up, is that there is Vue doesn't say you have to do it this way, but there is a prescribed way. Whereas in React, it's like, well, we're not going to tell you what to do. Go off, and there's like 50 options for you to try. You got to figure out which way works best for you. And so they have like a roadmap, like all these things, you put them all together, and they all work together. And so you don't have to go off and figure that out yourself. Whereas the React ecosystem is like, we pride ourselves on you knowing all the nuances of all the other things and picking the best one for your area. So it depends on the flavor of developer and development team, which one you actually like. But there's a lot more to explore here. I think we'll touch a little bit more on this as well next week in Steve's talk, because he's going to compare and contrast React, Vue, and Angular, maybe even some of the other frameworks that are out there too as well. I know that there's a few other that are a bit lighter. I'm not sure which one he's going to use, but I'm pretty sure he'll touch on the big three, some of those. So definitely come back for that one. Matthew, thanks again for presenting.
This was actually my first hour and a half presentation, so it's quite
You did a great job. I love the fact that you live coded, because that's how I do my presentations. It's hard, but people are rooting for you. Everyone wants you to succeed when you do that.
No problem. Thanks. So this was a learning experience, and thank you everybody for inviting me. If you want me to do Vuex, I've done a lot of Vuex. In my application I work in at JSC. So I look.
Yeah, we'll definitely put that on the schedule. If you add it to the backlog, and then we'll fit it in the near slot. Again, if any of you guys want to present, you don't have to. Let's say, for example, I think the first couple of years I presented almost every time, and it wasn't the one things I necessarily knew about. It was like, I want to learn about TypeScript, so I'll just throw my name up there, and I'm going to say I'm going to present on TypeScript, and I'm a procrastinator. So when I have a deadline coming up, it's like, oh, I got to do the thing. So it made me learn. It made me learn a lot of different things. I had to present it. I had a deadline. People are counting on me. You can present for as little as 5 minutes if you want. Just let me know. We'll figure out the schedule. As long, just tell me how much time you want, and we'll work it in. Another one is the lightning talks that are coming up. that's a great opportunity because there's a bunch of people presenting all in the same day, all short talks, which sounds like it's easier, but in a lot of ways it becomes a little more challenging because you got to condense your information down, you know, or you have to kind of scope down your information to a smaller area. But if you want to build, like I say, I want to do this and you're scheduled for like 7 minutes and you go 15 minutes, no one's going to scream at you. The other thing I think a lot of people get scared about is that, if I present and someone else is going to call me out in the audience. That's never happened. I say this all the time. If it does happen, we'll probably laugh a little bit and then we'll kick that person out.
Yeah.
It's not that type of environment.
On the second floor.
Yeah, well, we won't say that because we're recording, but but yeah, so it's an open, laid-back group. We're very informal. So by all means, please try to help out as much as you can. Has everyone signed the sign-in sheet? This is what keeps the pizza flowing. This is what me justifying to my company why I order all this pizza, right? So please, thank you all for coming. We have leftover pizza, so please take it with you because I have a meeting in like 5 minutes. I don't know.
Like your team still like
They do. I ain't got time to bring it down to them. Thanks, Matthew. We're going to sign off now.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. Enjoy your weekend.
You too.